Okay, so this program has 4 points in it. The first one's going to be the home position of the robot. So that's, you can see this position right here. And then the next point is, as I mentioned previously, the mastering position that could be used if you needed positions axes 1, 2, and 3. Now, you won't need to do that, but just to show you what it looks like. So this would be properly mastered. You can see the two machine surfaces are aligned here on axis 2 here. So it's good to have like a straight edge or a credit card or something to align those up. And then here's axis 3, okay, up there. You won't need to mess with those. But the problem is with those DCS zones, if you had a spray gun on here, you'd see that this would kind of smash into the ground if you had a gun on here, and so that's why this one isn't very usable for this case. So the next position here is going to be the one you will use, and this is to get the wrist axis. So you can step through it if you like, but then you want to get over to here, this position. This will allow you to master the wrist. Now, when you move it into position, it's probably not going to be mastered to all the witness marks the way it needs to be. This model doesn't have the pins in it, so you can't see. What you're going to need to do is just jog it very slowly in joint mode until you get it lined up the way it should be. So, for example, you would, I just put it down to 5%. You're going to want to go even slower than that, either fine or maybe 1%, and just move very slowly. So make sure you're in joint mode with the coordinate system here. And, axis 6, for example, is in this example, I'm moving it very, very slowly. It's fine, but see it moving very slowly there, and you'll get it into, you just use some very fine moves just to get it really mastered close. Okay, so anyway, after you get 4, 5, and 6 lined up, that's when you're going to go into the mastering thing. Now you should be able to hit menu, 0 for next in system, and then when you hit type, master cal should be there. If for some reason it's not, you're going to reference the manual for this information, but it says one of the first things, if you don't see it come up, you have to turn master enable to be true, as you can see right here in the manual. And the way you do that is from the same menu here, you go to variables and you find master enable. You can just scroll down. I happen to know in this case it's item number 300. Go in here, you can see master enable is 0, is 1 I mean. If you put it to 0, you'll see that if I went to that menu, master enable goes away. So, but then as soon as you put it back to 1, that menu will show up again. Okay, so in case it's missing, you just need to double check that to make sure it's there. Master enable. Okay, master cal. All right, so you've got it all mastered. Everything's in the right spot. Now you just go through the mastering procedure. And we have to do single axis master because we're only going to do the wrist. You would then move. You can see I messed with joint 6, so it's off. But what you're going to do is you're going to be setting these all to 0. And just to mention here, you want to put 1 in each of these. But you got to remember that you need to get off of the item or else it won't take it. So see, I'm sitting on there, get off of J6. You hit execute. It's going to say apply DCS parameters. To do that, you hit the previous menu here. You're back here, hit type, bring up DCS, say apply. Whenever you remaster something, you got to verify the DCS is right. The passcode when asked for it is 4 ones, 1111. Hit OK. That's going to ask you to cycle power. So you hit function, next, which is 0, 8 cycle power. You could also do it by turning the controller on and off, but this is a quicker way. So after you do this, you should double check if you move back to that position that we were just at, it should, all the witness marks should line up exactly the way they were when you mastered it. So everything should be right on the mark. The wrist should be perfectly mastered. But we don't want it perfectly mastered. We need to get back to its broken state, or its off state, I should say. So now, as we're going to move to the next point, which is point 4. And just to see what it is, you can see in here go over and look at the position of it. You can see it's off slightly. So now these are actually the inverse values of the way the point you recorded. So in other words, if it was 1 degree clockwise off, this would be 1 degree counterclockwise. Because you'll see if you move to this position, so now what you want to do, it was at its master position. Now you're going to shift, you got to make sure steps on, or else it's going to go move around on you, but you're going to go shift forward here to enable the teach method. Shift forward here, things are going to move slightly, and now you're going to go back through that master position. So it's in a slightly off position, the opposite of what it was, but by moving to this position, mastering here, when you go back to the actual master, it should put it back to the way it was before you took the wrist off in the first place. So once again, you go through and you say, back through the same process here, the exact same process we did before, going to the master cal, number 4, single axis master, put the 1s in each of these. Now, since this is a virtual robot, it's not actually going to change anything. The menus are the same. Remember to get off that menu, say execute, previous, type, number 8 for DCS, hit apply, 4 1s for the code, OK, issue to cycle power, function 0, 8 for cycle power, yes. And then after this is done, if you were to go back to that very same program and now move back to that point 3, which should be the perfect master position, the wrist should be off, and if you were to take a picture of it here, it should be the same as it was before you even started the process. So in other words, if we were to go master fix, and we'd want to go to this position here, which should be theoretically the ideal master position. It should be off the same way the first wrist was before you took it, and that really should be all you need to do here.